Hello everybody. Welcome to Theology 1000C Perspectives in Christianity. My name is Professor Seymour and I'll be your instructor this semester. Before we dive into the material, there's a few things I'd like to go over with you regarding what the course is about, how it's going to work in Blackboard, and what the course requirements are going to be. And we call this a perspectives course. When we talk about someone's perspective on something, we're talking about that topic from that person's point of view. Your perspective shapes your life and it impacts everything you do, every decision you make, and it influences how you think about things when you are presented with new information. Your perspective is the lens through which you look at life and your place in it. It drives how you move about in the world and how you interact with it. Perspectives in Christianity is looking at life, at the world, and humankind's place in it. The Christian perspective is rooted in the meaning of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus and what his life and teachings mean in our own lives. Now, just as our own perspectives are shaped by the world in which we find ourselves in, so too the Christian perspective has been and continues to be shaped by the world it finds itself in. I've chosen to teach this course by looking at Christian beliefs and practices as they evolved throughout history for exactly that reason. This course covers the historical development of Christianity, beginning with the early Christian movement through the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Reformation, and right on up to Vatican II. Now that's a lot of material to cover in 14 weeks. So this class is going to be moving very, very quickly. Now for many of you, this is probably your first theology course, and I'd like to say just a little bit about what, from my perspective, what a theology course is and isn't. First and foremost, this is not going to be a 14-week sales pitch for Roman Catholicism. Secondly, it's not a religion class. To me, a religion class is based upon the religious faith of a particular community of believers, and its purpose is to form the student in that faith. Theology is an academic discipline, and we're going to be discussing religious ideas, true, but as an academic discipline, to think and discuss these topics in a non-judgmental, non-confrontative manner. As one of my colleagues likes to say, this is about information, not so much about formation. In this course, we're going to be highlighting the belief statements and practices of the Christian faith as they evolved over time. We will be examining the writings of key figures who shaped Christian thought and the controversies that helped form them as believers grappled with the meaning of the life and death of Jesus and how to be his disciples. We will relate these beliefs and practices to the contemporary secular world and to non-Christian religion. Now, since this is a distance learning section, we don't have a set meeting time. The good news is that you can review the material at a time when it's convenient for you. For those of you who don't have experience in taking an asynchronous online course, that could be bad news as well, because when you're attending an on-site course, you've got a set time you're supposed to be in class. And so it's almost like this little reminder that you've got to be in class. You don't get that with an asynchronous online course. The other thing that might be a little bit sort of news for those of you who have not taken an online course before is that this is a 3-credit course. And so you should expect that you're going to be spending 3 hours per week for what would be class time, in addition to the assignments that you would normally be getting in an on-site class. So on average, you should expect around 6 hours of work per week in this course. Now, I present the material for this class in a mix of reading assignments, videos, and recorded lectures. The materials for the course are organized by week. So you go to the course homepage and you'll see a folder there for that week. And everything that you're going to need is going to be in that folder. I like to think of it as one-stop shopping organization. So everything you need for that week, the reading assignment, the recorded lecture, any discussion board link for that week's topics, all there in that section. Now, the material will be posted by Friday night at about 10 p.m. The week itself for the course runs from Sunday through the following Saturday, right? But I post the material 2 days early because I find that this works really well for students, in that you then have really almost 2 weekends, a weekend and a half, to get through all of the material, and your posting responses to your classmates. The timing works out really well for everybody. So there's more than enough time for you to be able to get your work done. And that said, I do not accept late assignments. All right, so make sure that you've designated a time where you are in class so that you can work through the material and get everything in on time. Now, in addition to each week's folder on the course homepage, there's a couple of other folders I'd like to draw your attention to. The first is the course information and resources section. And in there, you're going to find the links for the course syllabus. There are also some tutorials on Blackboard for those of you who are not familiar with how to use Blackboard. There are, in the course syllabus, there's some details on the assignments that will be throughout the semester. There's a couple of tutorials on how to do research at the college level. And then there's the tools folder, in which you're going to find the ability to send emails from Blackboard, and then the My Grades link, which, as we go through the semester and you turn in assignments and I grade them, you can go and see how you're doing in the course at any point. You will also find in the course information resources section the link for an online Bible. In the first few weeks, we are going to be working with the biblical text, and I'm not going to make everybody go out and buy a Bible. If you've got one already, you can use that. If you do not have one, or if you just prefer to use an online resource, then it's available for you in the course information and resources section. So speaking of required texts, we are going to be using the Christian Theological Tradition, the 3rd edition. And it does make a difference which edition you get, because the 2nd edition doesn't go through Vatican II as well as this 3rd edition does, and then the questions assignments are different between the two. So make sure you get the 3rd edition. What else? The last topic I wanted to discuss in this introduction was the how you're going to be graded. 60% of your grade is going to come from the chapter questions. Think of these as being sort of open book tests where you know what the questions are going to be in advance. And there's going to be a reflection paper. I hate to call it that because it's really not that, it makes it sound bigger than it actually is. But it's a short reflection on early Christians and some of the things that they were encountering as they were grappling with the events that had transpired. There is going to be a term paper at the end of the semester. We'll talk more about that as the semester progresses. And then the last 10% is going to come from class participation. When, class participation in an online course means that you are responding to your classmates' posts, that you're posting your material on time, and it speaks to the quality of those posts overall. Where do we go from here? So, for the rest of this week, it's a short week. Take a look at the remaining materials that are in this week's section, and particularly look at what's under the course information and resources section. There is a discussion board, a word about me, which is just introducing yourself to the class. And there's a PowerPoint presentation on the course introduction, in addition to this one that you've just watched. So that's all I had for now. If you have any questions about anything, please contact me. The fastest way to get hold of me is through email. And just because this is a distance learning course, it doesn't mean that I'm distant. So I am available to come on campus if you really need to meet me on campus. More than happy to come meet you in person. But as I said, the fastest way to get hold of me is send me an email. I'll respond within 24 hours easily. That's it for now. I'm looking forward to having all of you in class, and I wish you all a very successful semester. Talk to you soon.